There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
And I'm Wes.
Oh, welcome back.
I am so pumped to talk to you today.
I think everyone's pumped because they see the title and they know what we're going to talk about. We've talked about, I believe, we have talked about the Batman animated series, the DCAU, so to speak, the animated universe, and how much we loved it. Kind of like that was like a episodic cartoon that kind of continued on, like wherever Scarecrow was last left off, that's where we picked up from his storyline. Whatever happened in previous episodes, that story picked up and continued.
Continuity
played a big role, and so the super fan was rewarded for their dedication to catching it. This is back before DVRs, really. VCRs was around, but DVRs weren't. This is rewarding you for your dedication of never missing an episode.
It built consumer confidence, I think is what they call that now.
It did. And then Marvel finally got their
affairs in order.
And made X-Men.
Yes.
And X-Men we'll just say in general, X-Men in the late 90s was the thing in comic books. I mean, that was the thing that was the number one comic book, always selling. Everyone was into X-Men. But I also contribute the reason why it stayed popular for an additional 10 years in the minds of fans was because of that 97 cartoon. Because those kids came up to be teenagers, and that's how we,
Well, yeah, I mean, it started, and it's basically ran through 96, and then it carried over into the X-Men movie, because I can remember going to see the first one with my ex-wife, and she saw somebody there she knew, and they were both, like, at that point, it was pretty foreign for a girl to have any interest in comics.
Right, back then.
Not that it's a cool thing now, but especially then, she was like, "What are you doing here?" She said, "Oh, I used to watch the cartoon." And I was like, interesting. Like these two girls that were in their early 20s then, that was what they knew about X-Men was the cartoon.
And the cartoon, it came on Saturdays.
It did, Saturday mornings.
And so Saturday wasn't a weekday show like Batman, the animated series was. Saturday morning show. And it was also episodic in that one story impacted the next, and continuity was really big there. But it developed this big, for lack of a better word, soap opera drama of the characters and their plotting through, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Cyclops, stuff like that. And Jubilee feeling left out, and I'm trying to think of others. Rogue and Gambit, the forbidden love. Rogue can't love, even though Gambit loved, is unconditional. So, but those type of things, and it was really good. And then it introduced other characters very well. Storylines held continuity with the comic books very strongly, like the Savage Land and Sinister. That was. I didn't realize how close, because I hadn't read the comic book back then.
Right.
And then Bruce gave me the comic book. I was like, oh, this is very similar. I mean, the cartoon, made some shortcuts.
Yeah, you're going to get around some stuff a little quicker.
You've got to, because the Savage Land took a long time. But the gist of the story, pretty spot on. So obviously these writers read the comic books and said, okay, let's integrate this into a live action cartoon.
Yeah, somebody was watching this and keeping it canon to a certain degree, and like you said, I think that's why it's aged so well.
Well, they followed a tradition that no one else follows now. People think nowadays when you see this remake or reimagine a movie, live action movie or whatever, they just say, well, you know what, I just imagine this is my version.
Yeah.
Fans won't always be.
It's a retelling.
Yeah, it's a retelling of just a different for a new age and whatnot. And I'm like, no. Because you know what sold a lot? X-Men comic books. And you know what was popular? Those storylines. And so carrying those storylines, and you don't have to follow it verbatim, but they brought the essence of that to life in a cartoon and did a fantastic job. And those stories are popular no matter what, no matter how many times you tell them.
Yeah.
There's you missed out on the element of surprise. No, it's all right. It's okay.
Well, you almost look forward to it because you know what's coming. You're like, oh, I want to see if this holds up.
I want to see if this plays out with the voices, the animation, and even in a live action, you'd love to see that live action version of that.
Sure, yeah.
Well, every time I read a book, I'm like, I'd love to see a movie show this scene to me.
Correct.
Because in my mind, it's also, I'd love to see something like this. So I think X-Men, the cartoon, the old cartoon, really did. And by the way, just besides the storyline, I thought the intro music was excellent.
I think it's very
That little
memorable.
bell, ding, during, it's just, it was so, you were pumped when you're watching that. You were getting excited about what was going on, what was
Right.
happening, and the music really resonated with you and matched up well to what the show was all about. It had action, but it had drama too. And for cartoons back then, it was ahead of its day. Nowadays, we have smart cartoons that come out all the time for adults. I'm watching Invincible on Amazon, and it is the most violent cartoon I have ever seen. But it's good. But I was like, it reminds me of the good, solid storytelling that we got through X-Men and Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
And Superman the Animated Series for that part. I think
Well, I would say Spider-Man still holds up to that. I
and
think,
that's the one I haven't watched.
So-
The late 90s or
Yeah.
mid 90s? Yeah.
yeah, mid-90s.
Everyone tells me that was another good one, and I believe them. I believe them.
Yeah, they did a lot of borrowing from the books, and they changed a few things up, but for the most part, it was true to its roots.
That is one that I need to watch because I've heard nothing but good things. Because I rewatched a couple of years back, about 2-3 years ago. I watched all of them again. The Batman, just the DC animated universe.
Yeah.
And the Batman cartoon holds up. I'd never watched Batman Beyond. Someone said, "Oh no, it's great." I didn't want to watch it. It was great. It was just like they said. Bruce really loved the Superman animated series. I don't really like Superman, but I thought that Superman animated series was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah, you spoke high of
the
that
best
Superman
best
series.
portrayal of it, and then I think they kind of we did talk about this. I talked about I remember we talked about Static Shock. What was his name? The other one that came on. Because I remember talking to you about. I can't remember what podcast number this was. Uber fans are going to have to track it
I'm
down.
not
Static
sure.
Shock.
I don't remember.
I talked to you about that too, and that one just the art, the animation got better as the show went on, but the storyline just was kind of flatline for me most of the time.
Well, you know what you talked about with X-Men about the, and so we'll kind of pull back into that is
Yeah,
the X-Men 97 mirrors that. So it gives you a very familiar sound, and it gives you enough of the old to hook you in.
that's good to hear because I was worried because when I heard, I don't think any of the original people are involved in this.
A lot of those voices sound the same.
Okay, all right, but writers.
Well, no, it's a whole new,
directors.
creative
And-
direction.
And that's what turned me off because I want the original people to come back only because I know they can handle the story, and I know they probably had tons of ideas they want to do. Cartoons still today are short-lived.
yeah,
You
it's
can
usually
only hold
one and
your-
done. It's
one
14
or two. If you
episodes
go
or
2
whatever.
seasons, you're doing well. If you do 3 seasons, you're like a dinosaur. That's like 10 seasons in TV years.
Yeah, because that's that's how it was back in the day.
Back in the day.
If it would get picked up, they would overly syndicate it, so
Yeah.
you would get 48 episodes.
And you had hundreds of episodes, but I mean,
Yeah.
at most these old cartoons back in our day only went 2 seasons max. Maybe got a third, like Batman the Animated Series got a quote unquote third season.
Right.
They had to mix things up a little bit. They got different animation, which sucked.
Yeah, that was the Animaniacs type animation, and it changed it up.
Yeah, it was just really dumb. But
Yeah.
WB was all about that back in the day.
I did like that Scarecrow though.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like any of it. And then it is kind of jarring to watch the different animation. The story's still there.
Yeah.
But the animation, I think, took a downgrade. I was like, I don't like, because I think the Riddler looks just, the drawings just look lazy to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't a fan. But the artwork and the animation in X-Men was good.
Yeah, and I think the 97 animation is close enough to that. It's not exactly, but I don't think you need to do exactly.
No, you don't need to do exactly for a new series. You can up the ante. You can make the animation look a lot nicer.
Yeah,
I'm
I
fine with that.
Yeah, so I think that, and it's gotten some dings on, well, this is different or this is different. And I think that that's fine. I think people should be very open and saying, hey, it's not exactly that.
So continuity wise,
Well, here's what I was going to say leading up to this. So I enjoy, because I'm my age, like I grew up on MTV. So, MTV bands, rock and roll and stuff. So to me, it's kind of like old bands releasing new music. I compare it to that. So if you see an older band in concert and you go, wow, I feel 17. That's the feeling you want in the show. As opposed to you walk out and you go, wow, I really feel 47. So to me, watching X-Men gives you the feeling of the 90s show and it releases those old nostalgic endorphins in a very healthy way. And the storylines so far are very geared to a newer generation and slightly sprinkles things in. But to me, it's not so much it's sprinkling it in a way to go, not this again. It makes you go, oh, I am 25 years older than this.
yeah.
So these characters are still it's aging with me, which I
Okay.
think is
I'm
very
fine with that.
smart.
I'm fine with that.
Which is
Yeah.
what my thing with Batman to Batman Returns and how that product aged quicker than I think DC wanted it to.
I think, well, the DC animated movies, the last one that came out was just 2019, I want to say. It was the Batman Harley Quinn, and I rolled my eyes because Harley Quinn's been overdone before, but I trusted the DCAU, which created Harley Quinn in the first place, and they delivered. It was a good movie, animated movie, and it was written by the same team. And they only, at that point, toward the end, they were only making movies if they had a good story, which I can appreciate. Don't do anything unless you really don't do it for money. Do it when you have a good story. I think when you say it ages with you, I like that because I think that's what Top Gun Maverick did for us all.
Right.
It aged with us.
I think I think if you're into that, like I said, and in the beauty of animation versus live action is it doesn't have to look exactly. Because if you watch, well, you have to cover up your body more because you're reprising a role of 25 years ago
Yeah.
and how challenging that
No,
can
it's
be.
animation. It's fine.
Which is why Kiss was what Kiss was, because when she painted your face,
no one could tell your
looked
age. Yeah.
basically
Immortal.
right. And to me, that is how this show is. It just has it is X-Men 97, so it makes you feel it's picking up where it left off, but the storylines are very, I don't even want to say advanced, but they're just a little bit higher caliber,
Well, they know their audience.
which I think is pretty impressive because we talk so often about our genre of comics and things and how things just miss marks because it's a corporate side of it. Somehow this didn't have that.
Yeah, usually it's cookie cutter shaped, made by people who saw. I honestly, I believe they just read the Wikipedia page and only half of the Wikipedia page and went, "Okay, I can make Star Trek now," and they have no idea what they're doing. That Picard show, Benjamin and I talked about this on the Saturday Morning Sandwich Flange for a while. Seasons 1 and 2, it was written by someone who had no idea what Star Trek was. It looks like they read the cliff notes of everything and went, got it. And they did not have it. And then whoever took over for season 3 was like a fan. I mean, season 3 was like, I would tell people, don't even watch the first 2 seasons. In fact, burn the first 2 seasons. Just call it Picard and just bring out season 3. That's the only thing that was good. But it was like night and day because it was a different writing team. And if someone stays true to the content like X-Men,
Right.
then you can have a success. But when you try to say, okay, I'm going to build on it and I have my vision. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's not the vision that made it popular. If you're reviving an old franchise, you've got to stay true to what made it successful. You can't make it your own, go off on your own.
Yeah, and I think that, part of what the criticism has been is the situation with Morph, which I think is a little overblown.
I don't know.
and-
I don't know what the situation.
Well,
is.
just because of saying
Morph was the one that could morph into anything, right?
correct,
Yeah.
and was killed very early on, but is now back, which
Oh.
is not.
Canon.
It is okay, right? And they're more saying it's a they pronoun versus a he pronoun, and people are are going, well, this is now.
So when it says X-Men 97, they're just referring to the cartoon, not the actual year this takes place.
Correct.
Huh. I thought it was a continuation.
Well, it
of
is a
the-
continuation. That's what I mean. It is a continuation of those stories, but it picks up on it where it was. I'm not
Gotcha.
saying that people
Okay.
are on Facebook on the show, but
Okay.
but I think that the way they're dealing with the topics, people will want to pull from what's going on now. But I think it's, instead of saying, well, this is more of like a current political topic, it's more, we're
I
all
wouldn't-
20
to-
years
To
older.
be honest, I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I just wouldn't do that because that would just cause conflict either way. But it's like what was the movie I just saw? Ghostbusters,
Mm-hmm.
Frozen Empire. Did you see this?
No, but I heard your review of it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Your
but
one-man podcast are pretty impressive for the fact of how,
it's like
much
holding my
you
breath and treading
talk.
water.
like, you don't breathe very often. Like,
No.
there is no dead air.
I'm happy to have you back.
It was like, I was like, man, this dude is really getting after it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have you back.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't like holding in my own. But anyway, one of the things they did is I didn't mention this, but I talked about it on another person's stream. Is that they played it straight when they could have done something, modern day preachy that would have been contradicted. But I bet you anything, the director or the studio or someone said, don't do it. Walk the line like
Yeah.
we used to back in the day.
Yeah.
No one gets mad, no one's up in arms, and people go and enjoy the movie. And it was a smart move.
I don't think that they're beating anybody over the top with things.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
saying that
I haven't
That-
seen it, so I can't
that
say either
it's
way. But,
there. The elements are there.
but you said that's what some people are getting upset about.
Yeah, but that's because everybody has an opinion, and
That's true.
that's part of the click side of this.
But for me, well, I'm all about continuity. Now, I didn't remember Morph had died until you said, and I kind of, in the back of my head, I kind of remember that episode now. And so, for me, what would upset me probably is the lack of continuity between the original and with him being alive. Unless they come up with some story later on that tells you how he survived, or it's not Morph.
Well,
It's
yeah,
someone else,
I just think that it's. I think that people that get upset about that kind of stuff, when you're looking at something that is so good overall, like you're picking one thing out of like a 30-minute show that takes up maybe 2 minutes of it.
So each
At
episode's 30
most.
minutes?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
None of this 57-minute episode.
It's 30 minutes at
That's
least.
great.
Yeah, and obviously back in the day it was 22 minutes because of commercial
breaks, and we don't have
So
that
you're
now.
getting a nice
Where's
fleshed out 30-minute story.
Where's the streaming out of?
Disney.
Oh, that's right. They own it all.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is it still rated Y7 because it's a superhero action drama?
You know,
Do you remember that?
due to my lack of small children or any children in my life, I don't ever
No,
look
that's
at
what it
ratings.
said before the cartoon. It said this X-Men is rated Y7 because it is a superhero action
I don't
drama. And I was like,
remember that.
what?
I don't remember.
What does that mean? I never saw a grade for a cartoon before until
Yeah.
X-Men. So, and I always thought that was funny why they say that. I guess because they dealt with drama and everything. It was too adult for young kids or whatever to understand true love between Rogue and Gambit or whatever. I don't know what they were wanting.
Yeah, I
people
don't
of.
understand what could have been too edgy about it, other than the political aspects of what X-Men is based on. It's
Well, yeah,
being vilified for being different.
exactly. That's what the comic book has always been about.
It's too bad we don't have the ultimate X-Men fan here with us. But
Is he the ultimate X-Men fan?
well, you would think so. You would think so
Why would I think so?
because he was obsessed with X-Men for a
Oh,
long part of his life.
yes.
Although he did not, get
He was. Do you remember when he bought?
yes,
You already know what I'm gonna say.
yes,
The
the Scott Summer,
Cyclops sunglasses
Yes.
from the movie, the
Yes.
replica glasses,
Yes.
and wore them
yep,
proudly.
yep.
Didn't he used to go to the carnival and paint his face, like get the tiger face?
No, Crowface.
Crow. Oh, yeah, he's a big Crow fan too.
Yeah. hmm
Yes, he
Yeah.
was. Wore the dust jacket.
So I would love to hear his take on it, but that's just
He's
that's
probably
amongst
watched the
bros.
new one too. I bet you anything he loves it.
I would hope so.
I think he is positive enough when it comes to X-Men to just accept everything. Not to say that he's not a critic, just
Yep.
to say that I think he supports anything X-Men coming out, that he would gladly, with open arms, welcome something like that, because the cartoon was an impact on him too.
Sure.
It was an impact on everyone.
Yeah.
And that's why X-Men was so popular, and that's why I hated the X-Men for a short time. I mean, I love the cartoon, but I hated that X-Men were so popular, and at the time, no one was talking about DC.
Right.
And why was I such a DC fan? I'll be honest, I bet it was Super Friends. That was my superhero cartoon I grew up with.
Right.
And the only person I liked at Marvel was Spider-Man for the longest, and that's because of Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest with you. I bet it was the cartoon that made me the fan of DC and Spider-Man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There was a Hulk cartoon back then, too.
For one season.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk.
With red pants.
With red pants, that's right. But, I mean, the thing is, though, those cartoons kind of shape that catches those children. You have younger fans that grow up and they become movie-going clients that'll pay to see X-Men, which is why X-Men had a good run for a while.
Yep. But I think the show is just really good. I hate that they've already went to a different creative direction. As soon as the episode 1 dropped, they basically canned the new director.
I heard about that.
And
Well,
who knows? There's obviously speculation on why that is and what that entails.
I don't think it had anything to do with the finished product, but probably something behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would assume so. But man, the first handful of episodes, obviously this is going to come out at a different time, and I just watched episode 4, are just so good.
How many episodes will it be?
I
12, 10?
Yeah, it's double digits.
Usually it's, about that when they make a series
Yeah,
like
and
that.
especially if you're going to do
Smaller.
one a week. I mean, it's
But
hard
the
to
thing is, though,
hold.
I don't mind a shorter episode season, because then we get straight to the story and we have no fluff.
There's been
and-
no fluff in 4 episodes.
Well, Invincible, I think, is like 8 episodes a season or something,
Mm-hmm.
and it does go about an hour. But the thing is, though, there is all packed of story. There is no dead time because they have a story to tell, and they only got 8 episodes to do it. So we need to finish our arc, and I like that.
And what's interesting about, like, at least the last episode is how it did not even deal with the bigger X-Men, the A-listers, but it was really good. Like, the episode was good. You didn't kind of go, man, where's Wolverine? You're just like, I want to see where this is going.
Okay.
So it holds your attention because the story,
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
well, I understand, but it's not like Crash TV feeling. Well, we got to get this, and we got to get it.
We got to get all the
doesn't-
remember berries in.
It does
the
not feel that way. at
nostalgia
all.
bait and stuff like that.
Because
yeah.
I mean, the opening song is all you need to get in the zone.
Is it the same theme?
I mean,
Or
if it's a little bit, I'm
updated,
sure
an
there's
updated-
a little bit of little,
Updated theme? I
and
don't
there's
mind
different
that,
like
but stays
cut
true to the
scenes,
original.
But, oh yeah, yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yep.
like that they kept that and didn't change the intro or the intro music.
Yeah, I mean, because you would think,
because that is
It's-
synonymous with the cartoon. The intro is just like if they were to do the the continued Batman animated series, and they were to change the opening song. No,
right?
it has to be that. And I never got tired of watching that intro.
Yep.
Just him catching the bank robbers.
Yeah.
And being up in the building, but you just love the music. So good. Same thing with X-Men.
Yep. Very good stuff. So
Did you-
I'm very grateful that
Good.
they finally gave us something that when you're watching it, you don't go, I feel stupid for watching this.
Did you have a favorite character back in the day?
I
loved Gambit. I was Gambit more than Wolverine because he was, of course, Cajun.
Right. Because you're very Cajun.
I'm very
think
Cajun.
Of Cajun,
no, I just thought
culture, I think
he had the red eyes. He had the red black eye. He had the
Cuckoo is
blazing
pretty
cars.
Cajun.
Yeah, no, I just thought he was cool.
Yeah,
I thought he was cool.
I mean, I think that for my generation, if it wasn't Wolverine, I like Colossus because I like bigger superheroes that can duke it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the comic book, I didn't read the '90s comic book that much. I read bits and pieces. I've read more of it after the fact than I've read back. I
read
in the day.
more late '80s X-Men, and probably maybe some of '90 or '91, but that was about it. When the whole Jim Lee explosion happened.
Yeah,
I was done with it. Not because I was too cool or anything. That was the part where I had kind of got out of comics entirely.
No, that makes sense.
But
all right, so you like this one? You thought it was good?
Yes.
It does good pays good lip service to what came before.
Right.
It's an upgraded, fresher looking version, but feels the same.
Makes you feel. It gives you a certain sense of credibility for caring the way you cared. Instead of watching this and going, man, this kind of sucks.
Are there, and I'm sure there are, they've introduced New Mutants, I'm assuming, in the new season. It's fine, but I'm just asking if they did. Have they?
I can't say there's been a lot of new...
Okay.
Anything that you're unfamiliar with. I think it's you already have such a incredible collection of characters. That's what the hook of X-Men is. I mean, there's so many incarnations of them.
It's true. Yeah.
And you almost do not have to always have like a super villain situation because their inner turmoil was part of the story, which it is with most superhero teams.
And that's why you would be shocked to think that it wasn't villain of the week. There was a lot of drama going on, and sure, they were doing something or fighting for something to get Senator Kelly or, dodging Sentinels or doing something.
Correct.
But it was more about their relationships, their personal issues, working out all their personal issues, and going through a big cast of characters, but taking time to bring each one to make them look unique and give them their own hook instead of just be generic face number 1, because there's a lot of X-Men.
And I think that and this is not a knock, obviously, against the movies, because the movies are what they were, and they had a lot of it was really good stuff. There's something about watching those cartoons and everyone having a different look and not having just the same feel to it. Like the joke was in the first movie is when, they're talking, like I think it was Wolverine and maybe Cyclops talking about what they were going to wear. But I think if you would have if you take any of those elements out and you call it X-Men 97, that just damages it so much. It's kind of like New Coke or something where you go, this is a different product. This is not new. It's not, it's different. So don't just go with a whole new title and sell it as new rather than halfway pregnant. I'm in and out.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. I like the New Coke analogy. Thank you for bringing that in there.
Yeah, of course.
So this ain't no New Coke.
This is not Pepsi Clear.
This is... It's called... it's... what was it called? It wasn't called Pepsi Clear. It's called... oh, no. Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal. Okay, well, whatever.
Crystal Pepsi.
Drinkologist. We don't have Heath Fudge here to talk about.
We don't! I need Heath here.
8-minute dissertation about London fogs.
Yeah.
Orange juice.
Oh, that's so
Diet
good.
Coke.
What a great conversation.
Riveting. And
Oh, I'm telling you.
riveting.
They asked for us to speak at the local libraries. What are you talking about?
And I have asked him since that, you know, art project y'all released to go get a London Fog, and he has yet to invite me. But he brings his other bring along.
I'm right down the road, and he hasn't said anything to me either. But I'll see if I can get.
He's
that
a
happening.
Benedict Arnold.
I'm telling you what. I'm gonna get the redhead's name. That's my goal.
The only redhead's name that I keep up with is Heath's.
Aww.
And just
so
like
sweet.
the other redhead in my life, Axel, he's just doesn't fulfill all my needs and wants.
All right. So anyway, wrapping up, you'd recommend X-Men '97.
Yeah, the anger or the pushback that you see or hear, I kind of think it's unfounded, and I think it's just because people want to have a different point of view, which is just more based off conflict than the substance of the show.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Hey, folks, let us know in the comments. Have you seen it, the show? Do you like it? Did you like the old cartoon? Let us know, and we will see you next time on Princes of the Universe.
Thanks, bub.